Nice win for our guys. I told them in the locker room that when we came back to work last week on Sunday night, their attitude was tremendous. They had a great practice, had a really good run. A lot of guys in our hallway watching tape Monday, and it carried throughout the week. Their attitude, their chemistry on Thursday was very good. Our Thursday night meeting, when I went in with the travel team, they were on the board, enjoying themselves, just showing cohesiveness as a group. And so I'm not surprised that they played as well as they did today for that. So there were a lot of things that happened in the game. They had a few things in the open week that they were able to add. Little rugby, the punter, and we made an adjustment late, but we let them get a first down on that. But other than that, our special teams was tremendous. Our punter was awesome. We were good with our kicks. I think we might have had one low one on the block, but our PAT and field goal block was a huge part of this game. Defensively with Joe Bob Clements, he's a field goal block guy. What he was able to bring to the table was tremendous in this game. And with Vince lateraling the ball, that's something that we practice. And you only hope that when you get in that situation, they can execute it. We were able to rush the ball for 4 yards a carry. If we can run the ball for 4 yards a snap, then it gives us a chance to be a balanced offense and we can be a decent team. Obviously, we threw it well. We were able to mix it around the throwing game a little bit with James getting knocked out of the game. He's fine. He'll practice tomorrow. Precautionary, our medical staff didn't feel comfortable in putting him back in because of the hit he took. So defense made a great adjustment at halftime on the counter and the power play. We were a half guy short in the running game, trying to defend the throw. And when that happens against linemen that can block and running backs that are big and strong and can bounce off tackles, you kind of got to take the good with the bad. So, but we did make an adjustment on their down blocking scheme at halftime. It worked. I thought they did a good job. They're going to score some points. They're going to move the ball some. The style of offense they're in, the players they have, they're going to have the ability to move and score. So you have to do the same. You got to kind of match them blow for blow. So we were very proud of our team. I'd like to eliminate a couple of the penalties. I saw we had 70 yards of penalties. I'd like to stay 40 or under. But other than that, for those guys to rally back, practice great, play a good game, we couldn't be any more proud of them. They showed toughness. I also talked to them. A lot of young guys play on our team now, freshmen or first-year players, that they got their taste of what big-time conference football is in this league. Guys taking blows at each other and big play after big play and stop after stop and big hit after big hit. And that's what it's like in this league, and it's a lot of fun. So we want to enjoy this evening and then certainly get back to work and get ready for Iowa State.
You said you work on pitch play on that. You work on that with Vince Taylor? He looked like an option quarterback. But.
Well, he looked, it was funny, John. I saw the same thing. I mean, he flipped it just like those guys that played at OU in the 70s and 80s. I mean, he just tossed it right out there, thumb down, just like they taught us at Midwest City High School. And he looked really good at it. They practice it and we work on it, but what I said is it's not something you do so much that you know it's going to be perfect. But it's talked about, and really Forrest should have done the same thing when he was down on the 30-yard line. He should have just thrown it over his shoulder. You don't have anything to lose. But he thought he could outrun him and make it, but the coaching point for him, when you get to that point in your trap, what the heck, just throw it over your shoulder.
That was the equal, in terms of a big man executing a play, the equal of the Castleman play in the ball game?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a big-time play. I mean, when he gets evaluated in a few years for the NFL, they'll see a lot of athleticism on that play. They'll like that.
I know that's only a 2-point play, but did that seem to set any sort of tone on your sideline, just the way that all went down?
It's a huge momentum swing, right? Because that was the second score, I think, wasn't it? So they had tied it, and they scored twice in about 40 seconds. So it's kind of a downer. and then you get a block and you get the big play and they flip it and they score and the fans are excited. And those momentum changes in games are huge.
0 turnovers this week versus last week. What happened?
You know, last week, Mason was in the tackle box and took 2 hands off the ball. And that's a mistake a quarterback can't make. He got the ball knocked away. 27, the first fumble, the guy, I said this in the postgame, he really yanked the ball out, okay? And the truth of the matter is that the teams he's playing last year in high school don't pull at the ball like that. And then on the goal line, when he was fighting for yards, they came back from behind and hammered the ball. And it's a tough way to learn that at this level, that's going to be that way every play. And in high school last year, that didn't happen to him. So we talked about it, we correct it, you make a point of it. And as a coach, you teach it and coach it, and you only hope that it doesn't happen. And so our goal this week was to minimize the big plays. We'd been giving up 9 the last 2 games. We probably gave up 5 or 6 in this one, but we didn't turn the ball over. And so we got half of what we wanted to accomplish with our big plays. And to play in a game like this with as many plays as we had and to take care of the football and not turn over is a pretty good accomplishment.
Is Justice's initial burst and quickness getting to the line, is that what separates him from the rest of your backs?
He's been productive. You know, he averaged over 5 yards a carry against Texas. And he's just been productive. And you know, one thing in coaching that I think that a lot of us overlook at all levels, especially high school when we're evaluating players, is he productive and can he make plays? Well, that's where you start. And he's been that way in high school. And, you know, he came in here this summer and vertical jumped 41 inches. We only had one other guy vertical jump 41 inches. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. So we knew he was explosive, but you still have to put it together and be productive on the field.
Mike, was James out when the trainers got out there on the field?
You know, I didn't get there fast enough, and I asked them, and they said yes. Not for sure, but they say that all the time. That way they can take good care of him, and the coach, even though I'm for him, that he doesn't get mad. So it's kind of, let's say that, and then that way there's no debate on whatever. And they made the right decision. He's over there, you know, he's having a good time. He wants back in the game. And, you know, I did this, how many fingers? He said 4, and I said, you're ready. Get him in. And you guys didn't get that? I thought that was funny. But anyway, he's fine. But they're always going to be that way, which they should.
Go ahead.
The way your guys reacted to that, I mean, could have been oh man, you know, you've lost obviously Jordan Burke and Jarrell Owens who play today. I mean, just kind of and then to see a big play man like that go
Right.
down.
Yeah,
It didn't
was-
seem like your guys reacted that way.
It was old man in my head. I just didn't show it to those guys. But, you know, Jarrell should be fine, but he didn't feel good today about playing. And then 20, and of course 28. And then we had a couple other guys get banged up. So, you know, other guy that, you know, have to step up. McCleskey had a big day, right? McCleskey had a bunch of yards. Blake Jarwin made some really good catches. And, you know, and Lacey. And then Seals, he's not on here, but Seals made a few key catches and continues to be tremendous blocking down the field.
Mike, it was reported before the game that you moved Glenn Spencer up to the box for this one. Is that going to be a permanent change? What was the thinking behind that?
Well, I think they feel like that with the style of play that we see in this league, it's much easier to get a feel for what the offense is doing as you can look down and see it. Because it's not just 1 or 2 teams now that's playing in a rush. It's the majority of the league. So I think our defensive guys felt like that he needed to move upstairs where he could have a better feel for what's going on. When you're down there with us, people are bumping into you, the sideline guys, you can't hear. You know, Robert Allen's in the way. I mean, he's just – I mean, every time you turn around, somebody's in the way. And I think he felt like that he could do better off upstairs.
Obviously, they're without their 2 running backs in the second half there, but, you know, to limit them to 1 touchdown, you get a turnover on downs, you get interception. Did you like the adjustments you saw?
Yes, yeah. We made a couple adjustments inside on the one power play they pulled, and then they had a counter where they were pulling 2 guys. We made a small adjustment. We got out of our gap. We needed to push all the way on the one long run. But other than that, we were in pretty good shape. what I liked about what we did on defense in the secondary is we were in good position, I thought, to make plays. They played catch. We went up, we tackled, we rallied, we got them down. And when you play a team like this that has as much skill as they have, and the young kid they've got that's throwing it, he throws some darts out there pretty good. You got to be in position at all times, and you take a chance on, them making a quick move, just like they did early in the game, and then like what Lacey did, what James Washington did to Pitt. It's just tough with these skilled athletes out there in space.
How personally satisfying is it for you to finally beat Texas here at home?
Well, I took what you said Monday and told the team Tuesday that we needed to change the tune, change the trend. I was unaware of it until y'all told me, but I had mentioned to the juniors and seniors that have accomplished a lot here together. You need to be the group that stops this. And so I think they took a little pride in that.
You mentioned the way the team responded in practice this week. After Justice had those 2 fumbles, how was he in practice all week?
He's fine. You guys asked me that on Monday. He's an intelligent young man. He's mature beyond his years. He gets it. He understands why that myself and Coach Arroyo said can't turn the ball over. But we also told him why it happened. Coach's responsibility. You can't just tell somebody they made a mistake. Well, they already know they made a mistake. You got to tell them why it happened. And we told him, we showed him, and he understood that. He practiced his butt off, never said a word. He was accountable for his actions. And that's the kind of young man he is. He's got a good mom and daddy at home that raised him right, and he gets it.
He was your first guy in the commitment group the year before, and he kind of helps you recruit other guys. I mean, he's just kind of a model citizen kid here for you, isn't he?
Well, he's great. He's what you're looking for. Hardly ever talks. He falls in that Kendall Hunter category. That I had James Washington say the prayer before pregame, because I hadn't heard him talk in 2 years. So he did good on the prayer. And so with Justice, you have the same thing. He just never talks. He's right there and does what you ask him to do.
You get 213 running yards last week, and you have to feel encouraged about that. And then you come back against a more physical Texas team and average 4 yards an attempt and get 160. So, I would, considering what was on the other side of you today, I would feel more encouraged by that probably.
Well, I am. Plus, it keeps you guys off me. When we run the ball and get a little better each week, then it lessens the ammo that you guys have to fire at me. Not that you guys are bad, but we have to be able to stay balanced, Bill. You know that. You've watched us play for a long time. Our system is not built to be one-dimensional. That's why to win as many games as we did last year, well, it may be one of the all-time mysteries in football because we couldn't run the football at all. Our staff has worked hard. They put a plan in. They stay fairly simple. A lot of those checks came from upstairs during the game with Mike watching and seeing what he wanted to do, making a check. They understood it. We have to stay balanced. We're not good enough to be one-dimensional.
You praised Rudolph last week for getting some running yards, especially on a couple of third down plays. Today he runs it in the end zone, probably knowing he was going to get smacked pretty good at the goal line.
Yeah, he's from day one he's been very competitive, and he's been durable and, knock on wood, and tough, and that's why the players respect him. He's asked during the week to put in quarterback runs, and I had him do a field sobriety test on him afterwards to see if he was in and had his sense about him, but he plays hard. And he almost got the first down or the touchdown there on that one drive. He got down to 1.5. He was close. So as long as he takes care of the ball, he has to be able to avoid sometimes and get some yards to offset our tendencies in our drop back passing game.
I think he might be more sore though tomorrow or tonight than he's ever
I would
been.
be willing to guess that he is. He took a good hit on the goal line.
Mike, you use the words chemistry and work ethic and cohesiveness. You said the guys are enjoying themselves in your opening statements. Why do you think that is? What was different about this week, or was anything different about this week?
You know what? It's this is and this sounds a little bit like I'm trying to pump up my own tires, but this is a good environment to be in to play college football. Our coaches, we don't cuss our kids, we don't beat them down. We take care of them. We put our time in. We get off the field. We keep them fresh. We have respect for them, so they want to play hard. You know, now sometimes people say, well, you're not tough enough, or whatever, neither here nor there. But when you lose games like we did last week, if you're on the extreme the other way, I've been in this a long time, I can see it go downhill really quick. And we also have good leaders. We got guys on our team, for example, like Stearns. We had a discussion with him on Sunday. We were talking about when Ramon got beat last week on a deep ball, and that there's times in the game you need to be a smart football player. And Stearns said, you know, he's just trying to make a play. That's right. He is trying to make a play. But we need to understand where we're at on the field, what the score is, what the down and distance is, and if you have any help behind you before you make a play. Then Stearns said, I get it. And instead of him, you know, going a different direction, he said, I understand. I got that. That makes sense to me. So then they pass it on to the next guy. Now, that may seem artificial and like it's not that big a deal to y'all, but that's a huge deal in a program, in an organization of 133 people.
You got a little fired up there in the fourth quarter. I assume it had something to do with the play clock?
They got to reset the clock. I got to be careful because I've got a pretty good list of fines from the conference, but there was a discussion over the throw, and they were trying to determine whether they were going to call intentional grounding. Now, Junior was at the line of scrimmage. We knew that, but that doesn't mean that they weren't going to call it. So we can't make a play call because we don't know if it's going to be loss of down and the ball back here or the ball is going to be there. So we're waiting. They're talking. We're waiting. They're talking. They finally decided not to do it. There's like 11 seconds on the clock, and they should have reset it, in my opinion.
It's been since the 80s since you got the crowd that fired up on
What's
being
that?
on the field. It's been since the 80s that you probably got the crowd that fired up being on the field. They really responded to it.
And I'm sure Mason hurts worse than me, but I also did something, and I'm not sure what I did, and I may need to get treatment myself on that one. So, but anyway.
You had a list of prominent guys earlier that you talked about that are banged up or beat up. You got an Iowa State team coming in that lost at the buzzer today to Baylor. Played them to the wire.
What was the score?
45-42.
Where'd they play at?
Ames.
Ames, 45-42.
How do are you confident that you're going to be in good shape with a lot of these guys? It's a long list of Burton and Washington.
James will be fine. Who was the other one? Well, I don't know on Burton. I haven't talked to anybody. I think he got hit in the head or something, and so they usually do a CAT scan and an X-ray and all that on him. And then who? I think Drell will be fine. Drell was borderline today. No, he's really sore. So I'm not saying I guess it's not out of the question, but it doesn't look like to me he's closer.
Mike, what was your reaction to Boone Pickens' comments this week?
Which comments?
Tuesday when he talked to the Austin paper. He didn't catch.
Oh! I didn't have any. I just want everybody to get along. I'm for Oklahoma State, so.
He said you don't have, what was it? People, relationship skills.
Well, you like me, don't you?
I do.
Okay then.
You cracked me up.
See, everybody in here likes me. Jenny loves me now, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
See?